This episode was brought to you by
the defense.
Patreon.com / defense of the patients.
Okay.
It's
right.
where apparently people just go and pledge money.
What kind of is there like a kind of
this?
person, or is it just like people?
I don't know what type of people do it, but yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a specific type of person.
So like not swamp people, just like people.
I don't know. I think swamp people probably have
But
a
like
little extra money.
Demographically, is it like mostly swamp people?
You know, I don't have demographics on it. I wish I did.
Okay.
Because we would target those areas more.
Because I like have friends that are swamp people, and I like didn't know if it'd be like up their alley.
Like swamp people?
And I don't really want to put labels on it, but they do identify as swamp people.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like one word and all. Like they're very much. It's not just like, oh, we're people who are. It's like they're swamp people.
So they're just literally swamp. Do they share? Is it one P or two P's? If it's just one word.
No, there's actually 6, which is why it gets kind of confusing. Yeah,
Swamp
they have like a stutter, and you get all the sludge in your mouth, and yeah.
I couldn't imagine. But we are here because of 133 people that have said, you know what, we believe in Patreon, we believe in Defense of the Patients, and we want to pledge.
Right.
We can't thank you enough. There are a bunch of rewards on here, but most of all, it is you showing that you care about the work that we're doing. Literally, this is how we function and how we operate on a monetary level.
Yeah.
Have you bought anything cool with the money you've made from this show? I know it hasn't been a lot, but have you done anything?
Yeah, everything I do is cool. Actually, no, this money is going directly to like my gym membership and shit, and I try to not be an emaciated child who is dying at all times.
Okay, so you've been going to what do you do, cardio?
Like everything. I have a trainer and shit that is absurdly expensive for no reason that .p is basically paying for.
Well, you are helping Proud become more fit and to live longer. So
yeah, I'm gonna
I feel like
die
that's
soon.
A really good thing.
Like super
soon. I want
soon.
Proud to live a long time.
Right.
So
every dollar you add is another minute on my life.
Ooh. Then I'd donate a lot then.
Yeah, and we're like chasing the horizon here, and we're gonna catch it. So you gotta keep adding me some dollars.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Once again, that's patreon.com / defense of the patients. Sincerest of sincerity to all of our pledgers.
And if you are a swamp person, let us know, because I would really like to know percentage-wise how many of our supporters are swamp people. That's like, I have like a thing going. Just anyway, if you are, please tell me.
Mind. You truly
Would you back off?
All right, thanks, guys.
Hello and welcome.
Stop it.
Yeah?
Stop it right now.
I did.
Not another episode.
I know your timing pretty well.
Somebody has to introduce the show.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it, you can do it.
No, I don't want to.
Okay? Yeah, you just want to fucking get in the way of other people trying to start a show
wouldn't
off
say,
in a normal
feel like
way.
It's like we're both at a stop sign, and you were there before me, but since we're both at like we're on the same side of the road, right? So like it's a 2-lane highway or a street or whatever.
Okay.
And like you pull up to it, and then you're about to go, and I'm like behind you, but as soon as I like get to it, I should stop. But if you're going, I might as well go too. So we're like two cars that go simultaneously at a stop sign, but I had no right to be going at that time.
And I would say, don't do that to that
Yeah,
person.
I almost got a ticket doing that. I thought I could just do that, because it's like, if
piggybacking.
they're going, I can go too.
No,
like,
logically, it makes perfect sense. The intersection's cleared. You can go
efficient.
as well. Yeah,
Right.
it's actually very efficient.
But it's
anyway,
not okay.
Hello, all, and welcome to Proudland, where it is all of Proud and half of me.
That's what we say.
Today, we're going over some fun and interesting topics for all of you that are going to be hopefully very informative. I went into one of those isolation chambers and thought I tried to put myself in a hypnotic state.
How'd that go?
Before Dota, it didn't work at all because all I could think about is Dota and how much I'm loving Bristleback, and because he's super like.
Oh, are you playing
OP or something?
You playing
I don't know.
the big BB?
I'm on the BB, yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Anyway, we went way back in time to try and think about what it was that could have been imparted upon me 3 years ago that may have made me a better Dota 2 player. And
was there anything?
Upon exiting this chamber, I thought, what the hell does it mean that like when a hero is at its like peak, and we've been over this before on Proudland.
A little bit, maybe.
Where, like, why can't all heroes be good at the same times? Why are some heroes good early and some heroes good late? Like, you always hear the phrase, like, oh, don't worry, we got this late game.
That is the phrase we hear.
I hear it all the time. Or, oh, man, we need to win this game before 30 minutes because they got the late game.
Oh, no.
Or, don't worry, I'm on this hero, I've got the mid game. And, I still don't really understand it perfectly. I understand it much better than I did 3 years ago, but as you know, after our games tonight, I can use all the help I can get.
Yeah, you're not a great offlane centaur, I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't think I'm a great Dota 2 player.
Yeah.
I feel like all of my bad tendencies as just a person are come out in Dota 2.
Yeah.
Like indulgence, right? Spontaneity. Which that spontaneity is more like being. Well, I can't believe I can't think of the word.
Recklessness.
Reckless, but
not
more
exactly.
like, kind of like spontaneous. You know what I mean? Like
there's some word that's pretty
impulsive.
Similar.
There we go. Impulsive.
Okay.
I am a very impulsive individual, even in real life. That's why I should never go to Costco. Because we come home with things we don't need because I'm impulsive. And
Costco with you would be a fucking disaster.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm really good at Costco, by the way. Like, I could probably balance out your Costco pretty well. Like, I'm a very skilled Costco human.
Audrey's pretty good at reining me in on the Costco as well. Cause
I believe
right when you come into Costco is when you get the all the deals, right? Like right in the front door, they have like. To the right, I don't know, to the left. This is just my Costco, right?
To the left,
Where it's like, oh my god, a 40-gallon cooler, and it's $19.98, and it's a 2-pack, Audrey.
Oh,
we need coolers.
Man, you buy like real products at Costco? No, I just get like a massive amount of food, and then if there's maybe a specific thing that I need.
The food section's the most boring section for me.
Oh,
that's where I'm not.
Damn, yeah, no, I wouldn't even like. I would just direct you away. I mean, that's just like. Do you want a shit ton of like fucking dried fruit? Go to Costco. You're set. You want some vitamins? Costco. You got it.
Yeah.
Don't buy
the vitamins sometimes.
Why do you go? Yeah. You need paper towels? Like that's what Costco's for. Not like I'm gonna buy a fucking dishwasher. Like, don't do that.
Dude, I bought I wanted to conserve water. Okay?
Yeah.
We had an older toilet, and I bought my toilet at Costco.
Okay. I mean, if you need a specific, but like impulse buying at Costco.
Impulse bought the toilet.
Oh,
I was like,
you were just this is good toilet.
I read on the toilet that it
was good.
Doesn't use so much on the GPF.
Oh, that's what we need.
Flush.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey.
Always trying to optimize my GPF.
And so I came home with this better GPF toilet. And it just kind of sat for a while until finally I was like, hey, Dad. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, do you know how to install a toilet?
Oh, this is the origin of when Roland had to install a toilet with his dad. And he was like, it was fucking hard.
It's not that hard. It's gross.
Yeah. Because all the...
Even in a pristine bathroom.
Yeah. We had this conversation already about whether I thought it wouldn't be, but you were like, no, it is. Because the old toilet's got shit around it. And I was like, okay. But like a fresh install, like if you just built a house, putting in the toilet would be fine. But if you've got like a pre-existing, it's the pre-existing toilet you got to be worried about.
Exactly, especially the older one. Anyway, like my Costco timings, I understand those. They know where to get me. I fuck samples, dude. I don't even go for the samples. I don't want the food. I'm not interested in the food. I'm interested in the items. Anyway, I wanted to get into some specific cases with you. I went to like Dota Buff, and I looked at like the top 10 on heroes on Dota Buff. And
top 10 what?
Top 10 most played.
Okay.
To understand, I mean, obviously, I can take a correlation of the people that listen to the show and the top 10 most played heroes and say, you guys probably play some of those heroes. And I kind of wanted to understand what a spike, what a hero timing is. And what, in my research, I kind of found, and we'll dig way deeper, is a hero that hits a specific timing in his skill like with his skills and abilities and levels plus an item, right? Like it's like
yeah.
I
mean,
hit
it can be
level 6
kind
and
of
I got
one or
this
the other,
item.
but yeah, it doesn't need to be both at the same time, right? Like,
Sure, but like both at the same time is like,
well,
like you know, like
I mean, yeah, I would agree that hitting two spikes at the same time is probably stronger than one, but it's just in general, like when you hit either an item timing specifically or or like an important level specifically that allows you to skill up something that, you know, has a drastic increase from the previous level or whatever.
for sure. And so I came up with a few examples.
All right, let's hear them.
And I
Give me
think it'll
example
take-
number 3. I don't want to hear number 2 or number 1 right now. Well, we can go back, but I want to hear 3
example
first.
number 3 you'll actually
give me
really
3.
like. That's funny. And they are listed out like that.
Wait, say again.
They are listed like that. That's so
Previous
funny that you
sentence,
said that.
one before
Okay.
that one.
You'll like number 3.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, I didn't hear what
I
that
think
sentence
was
was.
the
We're
previous
good.
sentence.
I think you're correct.
Okay.
Those sound like the sounds
So-
that I remember.
How I wrote these out was like
Let me know.
this: Life Stealer after Armlet.
Ugh. Oh no, that's fine. I just wanted to make a sound. We
okay.
really need to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm gonna be honest. I really
know,
want to play
Dota.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I
with
would
you
love
guys.
to play Dungeons and Dragons, so you can get a feel of how Denny DMs.
Dude,
because
he's good.
He's a great dungeon. You got the shittiest of it all, dude.
Oh, no, I know.
His Dungeons and Dragons campaigns are great, but okay, Life Stealer after Armlet. This is how I've written out these examples.
Uh-huh.
What is it that makes it so Life Stealer after Armlet is a spike?
Okay.
This is a trend that I saw. I did some research on Dota Buff. And I
Can
just
you
kept
actually
finding-
just give me examples 1 through 3, and then I'm gonna like pull it back and talk a little bit about what would constitute like a spike or why something is a spike? Can you do that for me, babe?
Yep. So the first would be
Thank
Spectre
you,
after
dude.
Radiance.
Thank you.
Spectre after Radiance.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's a great one, dude.
Ursa after Blink.
Okay, give me a support as well, or something that isn't just like, oh, I'm a right clicker, I got an item, like that. I don't give a shit about that, dude. Give me a fucking.
Ember Veil.
That's not a support, dude.
I didn't do any fucking support.
Oh my god.
Crystal after Blink.
Well, we'll say lion. Can we say lion after blink? I think that's
sure.
pretty
We
standard.
can say Lion after Blink. Sure.
Yeah, dude. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for that. Lion after blink. Okay. So there's like a couple ways that you can go by in terms of what a spike is. The easiest one is just like the kind of raw damage thing. And for that, I'd want to go back to saying that this is something I've said on Theorycraft Thursday a lot. I'm not sure if I've said it as much here, but Dota is just a game of thresholds. If you have enough damage in one spell cycle to take someone from 100% to 0, and they know that they only have enough damage to take you from like 100% to 30%, you are gonna basically kill them 100% to 0, and instead of trying to kill you, they're just gonna run the fuck away. So you're like, you know, in a fighting game when you kill someone and don't get hit once, and it's like perfect, and you feel awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Street Fighter,
just
something like that.
yeah, that's like everything that's ever happened in Dota 2. Like almost every fight is almost always a perfect. There's a couple almosts there, but basically like you get nothing for getting someone down to 30%, right? It's either you kill them or you don't. It's a binary thing. And so if you have the damage to kill someone and they don't have the damage to kill you, instead of trying to like kill you back and, oh yeah, you know, I only gained 70%, I only beat them by 70%, so that's worse. They're just gonna fucking run and try to survive. They don't care about getting you low. They care about killing you. If they can't kill you, they're just gonna fucking run. So if you have enough to kill someone, you can almost just keep killing people and never really get punished. It's a little bit harder when you go into like, you know, trying to kill 3 or 4 people at a time. You can get punished there, but in general on Dota, if you're just stronger than someone, it doesn't even really matter how much stronger than them you are. If you are stronger, you just fucking win. And where Dota gets kind of hard is you don't have perfect information all the time, and even if you did, it takes a lot of like game knowledge to know whether or not you actually like are stronger than them. Like if I know their items, I know my items, I know my levels. It may be like most tiers in Dota are like fairly equivalent. Like if it's like, I don't know, if a Queen of Pain has similar mid-game net worth to like a Coralina and they both start killing each other, it's actually pretty even. It's going to be like by, you know, like a hair's difference or something. But Also, if you talk about like XP and gold and that sort of thing, if I'm like halfway to my next level and you are all the way to your next level, that doesn't like matter. That's another threshold thing. Like, it doesn't matter if you're halfway to your next level. It just matters if you have the level or not. It doesn't matter if you're halfway to your next item. It's just if you're at the item or not. So like,
if I'm 24, 99% the way to level 25. I'm level 24. I'm one experience away from 25. Doesn't fucking matter.
You don't have your 25 talent no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I have my sheep stick finished and Lena is almost done with her sheep stick, just pretending these people are going sheep stick for whatever reason, like the second I get it, there is the highest. If there was a possible window between when Lena gets her sheep stick and when I already got mine, as soon as I get it, that's when I have like the most, like the highest chance that she doesn't have it yet, right? Like the longer I wait, the more likely it is that she's about to get her thing. So as soon as I get my item, I know that my like threshold to kill someone is as high as it's going to get for a pretty long time. So and until they get until they get their own thing, I have the highest chance that their threshold is going to be, low enough that I'm just stronger than them. Yeah, that I can just take the fight.
You can do the 100 to 0.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was wondering where you're going with all that, and I was like, ding, right when you said that. So basically you're saying two equivalent heroes going for the same item. The hero that gets it first has as much time until the other hero gets it to do the 100 to 0 is what you're getting at.
Right.
To make that threshold from 1 to 0 basically is the way we can look at it, because it is binary, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And then a complex way of looking at it, but when you simplify it like that, you're absolutely right. So when I say Lifestealer after Armlet, that window, basically you have to take into account the 5 heroes that you're dealing with.
Yeah. It like a way simpler way to think about it is to be like, okay, let's say I have a Juggernaut that has Butterfly, and I'm fighting against an anti-mage that has Butterfly, right? That's pretty equivalent. So we're both trying to get MKB so we can hit each other through evasion. But I don't know when anti-mage is going to get his item, and anti-mage doesn't know when I'm going to get my item. So as soon as I get my MKB, like, I don't know if anti-mage has it or not, but either way, I know the longer I wait, the higher chance it is he's going to get it. So as soon as I get my MKB, I'm just going to try to fight and hope that he doesn't have it yet. But the longer I wait, the higher the chance is that that anti-mage is also going to get his MKB. So like as soon as I hit what is a peak for me, like I'm not going to get MKB is a big item. My next item is probably going to be like even more expensive. So I know I'm not going to get stronger for a decent amount of time. I know as early as possible, I need to push the fact that I just got an item, and hopefully I can get my fight in before before anti-mage actually finishes his MKB. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. So I want to move into, I feel like this is a perfect opening for actually my first example, which is Spectre after Radiance.
Yeah.
So I play a lot of Spectre. I have a good win rate with Spectre. I feel like everybody does because Spectre has a good win rate.
Yeah.
I get my Radiance. I need to do something, right? Like so I'm going to actually dial it back one notch further. Okay. I've heard you talk about Juggernaut, and the second you get level 6, which this is a timing not to do with an item, but more to do with a level, right?
Yeah.
You hit level 6, and you leave lane to use that Omni Slash, I've heard you say.
Pretty often, yeah. Unless I can immediately get a kill on the offlaner, yeah. As soon as I hit 6, I'll seed my safe lane to a support or something, and I'll like TP to the offlane and go Omni Slash their carry.
Because your Omni Slash is only getting weaker from the second you skill it.
Right, yeah. So this also goes into Spectral Radiance and Queen of Pain when she gets her 6. But Omni Slash is a great example. Omni Slash is a fairly finite amount of damage. It's gonna do a swing or a slash for 200 to 225 damage, so an average of 212 and a half damage. Yeah. So, and it's going to do that 3 times, so it's 600 physical damage, and then also the auto attacks that I do during the I think it's 0.4 seconds per slash or something. Anyway, I probably get 2 auto attacks in there as well, right? So it's during the Omni Slash, I'm invisible. I'm probably going to deal 700 damage after reductions or some shit like that, and then after that, I have a spin. So that's my threshold. I have roughly about 800 damage that I can do without getting punished. And the longer I wait, the more heroes level up, the more they get new items, the more their strength gain comes into effect. The more they get armor. So the more time that happens, the less that my 3 slashes of Omni Slash are going to be able to just kill someone immediately. And if they don't die immediately after my Omni Slash, and then I have to use Blade Fury, and if I need to like chase them with the full Blade Fury, then maybe my Blade Fury runs out right as I get the kill, but then I'm like under tower with no spells left, and I don't have enough mana for Healing Ward and shit like that. So yeah, if you almost everything in Dota is fairly finite. I only have as much damage as I have inside my Omni Slash, then a little bit of Blade Fury, then I got to get out. So the longer I wait to use that, the longer I wait to leverage the tool that I just got, the more other people's natural defenses are going to be scaling, and the threshold to kill them is just going to keep rising. So it's like as soon as I get it, that's the height of my threshold, and it's not going to get any bigger. And the more time I wait, the smaller my window is going to be. So highest chance that a kill will happen is as soon as you get it, right?
For sure. So no question is a dumb question, but I'm going to ask a dumb question.
Okay.
So say a new team forms right now that is just the best fucking team ever. Like kind of like Team Secret TI5, where it was like everybody was like they're gonna win it all. Whatever. Yeah. Like they had that like moment. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this is the team understanding these windows like better than another team?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a big part of it. This is just like the kind of concept of timings, which the words for it, I think at least most people, like the way they popularly know it is a lot from StarCraft. And it was, there was the idea of like you would get an upgrade or something. And this is like a super, super easy example that even applies to Dota. So like you have a bunch of fucking infantry and you're Terran, and you're skilling up your upgrade for +1 attack on your Marines and Marauders and shit. And the other Protoss you're against is trying to get +1 armor for their fucking zealots and shit to tank. As soon as you get your upgrade, you want to hit while you have +1 attack and they don't have +1 armor. So as soon as you get your attack, you want to start attacking and hope that they don't have their armor yet. Worst comes to worst, they do. You're even. Best case scenario, they don't yet have their upgrade, and it's like having 90% of your upgrade complete doesn't matter. It's either it's done or it's not, and then I just fucking wipe you out. And yeah, same shit in Dota for sure. So if you are playing, and it's not only knowing when your like power spike is, but it's also knowing when the opponent's is, because if their Queen of Pain is waiting at level 2 ulti, and you see that she like just hit level 11, you're like, oh shit, we have like 2 minutes or a minute or something before she hits 12. Let's like do our attack within 50 seconds, but if it takes us like a minute 30 to do our attack, she's probably 12 by then and we won't do it. So like that's the kind of like you want to hit like your as we said, it's like about kill threshold. So like yes, like if your Juggernaut is behind or something and he gets his level 6, but you're against a Phantom Assassin, and for whatever reason she's still going Vanguard first, and you say, all right, I'm 6, this is sick, and then you look over and like, oh shit, Phantom Assassin's doing great, she has Phase, Aki, and a Vanguard, and I just hit 6. Like, yeah, you hit your threshold, but with the information available, you know that her threshold to like be killed is just higher than your damage though. So just say, shit, like I hit this one timing, but it's not any better than the timing that my enemies just hit, so I'm not going to try to capitalize it. Instead, I'm going to change my plan to like, I need to sprint to a timing that's going to outpace the one that she just got.
So my Omni Slash at level 6 timing is gone. I'm going to hope that my Manta timing, say, on Juggernaut is going to be enough.
Yeah, or just like, she has so much ahead of me, like she's gonna go for the Vanguard, and then also gonna get a Deso after that, and then she's also gonna have a lot of points in Blur. It's not just the Manta. Like, I need to instead emphasize, even further down the road, I need to emphasize my level 12 timing when I get twice the attacks on my Omni Slash. You say, fuck it, I'm not gonna participate at all. I'm just gonna sprint out this level 12. I'm gonna take the tome, and then I'm gonna try as hard as I can to get my next big timing. I'm gonna go all in on that and try to get that one above her threshold, and then try to capitalize on that with my team and snowball from there.
Sounds like we're talking about a racing game where it's like, oh god, PA
it totally is.
Like, I just need to speed up now, and I need to not fuck up.
Yeah,
I can't crash again.
That's why a lot of people do. So sometimes you do like late game or mid game Midases or something. You've seen that where like, someone will just
like
get
ROTK on an Abaddon at like 20 minutes picks up a Midas, and you're like, huh?
Yeah, that's when you're saying, like, there's no item right now that can bring me to another important threshold within the next, like, 10, 12 minutes or some shit like that, or 17, depending on how you think about Midas. And just like, fuck it. There's no item to do right now, but 2 items down the road, like, at my 50-minute timing, if I have 2 items instead of, like, an item and 80% of another item, that's when my timing is going to be.
And
to know how to...
And for a pro team... So for a pro team is because right now we're kind of talking about Dota as though there is no movement, right? We're talking there is time, but we're not talking about like rotation and stuff like that. So a pro team takes all this information in with regard to how long it takes to actually get to them as well.
Sure.
Right? Like, it's so hard for me to fathom, like, and that's why, like, I love people like we were talking earlier tonight about, like, D2 Bowie, who slows things down and makes it digestible, because...
Oh, for sure.
You know, when you watch, like, I've been catching up on Manila Masters, catching up on Epicenter and everything like that.
Yeah.
I just watch it, and it's literally like, that's cool what they just did. Oh, he just got that item. But inside that pro player's mind, like, this whole, like, what you're talking about, thresholds, has to be, you know, weighing heavily on, hey, captain of my team, or hey, shot caller, or hey, team, I just picked up this. What can we do with it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's also like, and then I mean, not to just layer on the complications, but then if you also think of each hero that you're against has their own high point threshold. Like, of course, hey, that's my phone. Of course, every time your support hits 6, like when your warlock hits 6, that's like, oh shit, we have a huge amount of power right now. As let's go try to wipe their safe lane. But then you also think, okay, who's their strongest person right now? Let's say, I'm just going to keep talking about Queen of Pain. They have an enemy Queen of Pain, but Queen of Pain just TP'd bottom to kill our carry, and our carry just like left, and our carry now TP's top. So we know, okay, all we have to do is worry about the threshold, or the timings, or the high points of their other 4 heroes. And the only one who has like a decent timing is like Centaur's 6. Beyond that, maybe their carry is like a I don't know. Let me think of a carry that doesn't actually, like, Sven's 6 is important, but it's like not that big. And their other supports are both level 5, and our supports, like, we have a Slardar that's level 3 or something for some fucking reason, and our Warlock is 6. But a level 6 Warlock's threshold is huge. Slardar at level 3, he still has a sprint and a stun, whatever. And then a couple supports without their ultis, whatever. Sven with just an ulti, whatever. And we have a Juggernaut with an Omni Slash open, and a Warlock with like a Golem drop. So that's all we're concerned with. And yeah, maybe they have the Centaur Stampede to go away, but we know that like our damage potential that we just hit is huge as shit. And theirs is also decent with Quap, but since it's Quap's out of the equation because she just TP'd, now all we have to do is worry about these 4 nerds that can't do shit.
It's kind of like a game of addition and subtraction. You're like, okay,
it totally is.
Centaur Stampede is worth 75, but Omni Slash and Golem is worth 80.
Yeah.
That's enough to do 100 to 0.
Yeah, and yeah, their Sven can stun and then attack twice, but that's not going to kill anyone. That's just going to get us low, and then the Golem's hitting him, and then he dies. So yeah. But
the true gem that is buried in all of this is the mind that's able to parse that information, right?
Yeah, and no one actually no one has that thought. That's just what the underlying math is behind, like, oh shit, Quap just TP'd, we can fight top. Like, the reason that you think that is, oh, we have like a bunch of these skills and whatever, and either supports aren't 6, and blah, 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 and we have all their shit up, and as long as they don't have Quap, our numbers are bigger than their numbers, and they just have to run, and we, wipe them 4 kills to 0. But, like, no one actually says that. They're just, oh shit, there's no Quap, let's go. And that's like how you are decent at Dota, is you just like, you have enough of these situations in your mind, you have enough repetition to understand, like, all right, if their mid's gone, look at these heroes, they're not strong at this time because I just fucking feel it, and then we go.
Yeah. There is no accountant on a Dota 2 team. Yeah. There's just a feeling. And I guess...
Unless you're really good and you have a coach, and then I'm sure that's a big part of what coaches do, is like actually really verbalizing some of that shit.
For sure. And I mean, even being like, less than 3K, around 3K, like, I can, like, look at my hero and, like, say I'm Quap, and I can be like, okay, Blink plus my E is 200 and whatever mana, or 150, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah. I have 240 mana. I shouldn't Blink right now, because when I get there, I won't be able to do my E. Like, yeah. I think that would be, like, your very simple math, right?
For sure.
In Dota 2. So this is... Once again, like, ooh, it's good. Ooh, it's really good, because it's stuff that you just have to play. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk like Spectre after Radiance. The second you get it is going to be the best, and you're you're not going to get your radiance before level 6. Let's be honest. The cost of items is way too
probably
much.
not. I'm pretty sure all of the gold that you could possibly get on the map, you would still need to like. I'm trying. Okay, this is like the stupidest.
There's like no way.
Set
You
of
have to
words.
like buy back. So you got like, oh no, you still get full experience when you buy back.
I'm thinking like, okay, so if they took out like every tower and every racks while you sat in base, I'm pretty sure you still wouldn't. They would need to kill Roshan a shit ton for you to be able to afford radiance before the amount of creeps you had to kill yourself. Oh no, there's passive gold. You could do it if you really fucking tried. We got passive gold. We're fine. Anyway, outside of,
well, that's just for the relic.
Yeah,
but you have your 650 starting gold.
5K, you need a
It'd take like 42 minutes.
Yeah,
42 minutes.
Shit, this whole game, I should have been in a private lobby, seeing how long it would take me to get to that. Because the
like
towers naturally die too.
Minutes.
Okay, that's a fine guess. All right, I think we can go on to actual content now.
Exactly.
I'm glad we spent time on that. Oh, sorry, am I talking about Spectre Rad now? Because you said go ahead.
I would
and
love to talk about Spectre Radiance because there have been a number of times where I'm like, look, I'm just not going to get it. My lane went poorly. So I want to talk about two situations with Spectre Radiance. I want to talk about the situation where I get where I have a perfect lane and I get that Radiance, say, before 18 minutes. And then I want to talk about the opposite of where I had a really shitty lane and I had to like scrounge in the jungle and I get it like after 28 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, because there's a huge difference between that, right? The way you use the Radiance.
Okay. Yeah. No, there's a lot baked into this. Okay. So on the topic of thresholds and how to like just kill a motherfucker, there's the really easy example of like, oh, magic. When people ask you how to skill, the default easy thing to say is, oh, get the skill that does non-scaling damage first, because it doesn't scale later. Which is like, that's like saying point B or saying point A because of point B. Like you can't. That's
kind of a no-brainer too.
No, it's like it's the wrong direction that logic should go, right? Instead of, oh, this is good because it doesn't scale. Like not scaling is not a positive thing. You should never say that, right?
It's at its best if you get it early, right? If it doesn't scale, like with the same with Omni Slash, you know that it's only going to do 800 damage. So if I have this static amount of damage that my magic ability is going to do, the earlier I get the maximum amount, the most it's going to do during that early.
Right, and this may sound a little pedantic, but it's like an important thing to be able to think about. Nothing that you just said implied it was good. All you said implied that it's gonna just be shit if I wait it. Or if I like, the longer I wait, the shittier it gets. But that doesn't mean necessarily that it's good. The assumption that you like, so
it's better.
It just like if something is garbage and it's better early versus something that's just good all the time. Of course, you'd want to get the thing that's good all the time in scales, right? Like. There's nothing. So like if I say, oh, this hero has a nuke, and you say, oh, okay, I'll get it, but it's like, okay, the damage scales from 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and it has a 10-second cooldown. You're like, oh, but it's flat damage, so I should get it. You're like, no, it does 4 fucking damage. Just because it's flat doesn't mean it's good earlier. There are like a few examples of heroes that have stuff like that. That's like let's say Ursa's Earthshock. That damage doesn't scale, but a lot of you're not just gonna like 100% every time max Earthshock, right? Same with Sven. Sven's Stormhammer the damage on it doesn't scale, but you're gonna max Cleave and Warcry early on for like most of the time. Maybe I like 2 points in Stormhammer, but most people they max your flat damage literally last. Like that's the last thing they do. So it's overall a pretty shitty way to go about things, right? Does that make sense?
You're right. There is a lot baked into this. Yes,
there's a shit ton baked into it. So, so what you're like, so Radiance is an interesting kind of thing. So Radiance it's flat damage, right? It does scale the longer you're there, but it has plus damage on it. But I'm saying the burn effect is 60.
It's 65 damage. I think.
No, it's just 60.
Oh, it's just 60. Okay.
Yeah, it used to be like 45, then it was 50, and now it's 60. Yeah, so it's 60 damage per second when you're next to Spectre, and then if you're an illusion, I think it's like 40 or something now.
Yeah, it goes down. They did some weird stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we can simplify the math, though, just to get the concept across.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to know this. This is like an important thing to my mind right now. How much fucking damage does Radiance do?
Maybe it might be like 20% less, which would be 40.
What the fuck? Oh, 35. Holy shit, that's so much lower. Yeah, no, it got nerfed pretty recently. Anyway, yeah, so So regardless of whether or not like it's better to get flat damage or not, the only fact that remains is that, or the only fact that's worth talking about is the fact that the damage for the most part isn't gonna go up. I mean, yeah, there's shit like Veil and Spell Lamp or whatever, but for the most part, it's not gonna go up in any like high levels of magnitude. Whereas your damage, if you add a Daedalus onto the damage that a Yasha was giving you, like that just gets fucking amped up by magnitudes. Radiance, maybe you buff it by 5% at some point in the game. Doesn't really matter. For the most part, Radiance, the damage that you get is just the damage that you get. And as the game goes on, people's defenses, like maybe they even get a BKB, so your Radiance literally does fucking nothing. Supports get more strength gain, so they can survive under Radiance for 5 seconds longer, or some shit like that. People get, pipe, so your entire bout of Radiance is gone. Whereas a lot of other things in the game, like physical damage, there's not, like physical damage, you don't really just stop taking physical damage at any point in the game. It's kind of always going to be there. So, and you have to assume that almost everything in Dota is pretty balanced. That's why you're allowed to say, oh, if you have flat damage, get it early because it gets better later. And that's assuming, well, there's got to be some reason to get this skill. It's not just a shitty skill. So because I'm under the assumption that everything is good, I want to get my thing before it's bad because it has to be good at some point, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be in the game of Dota 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, so if you look at Radiance, you're like, oh, okay, the damage falls off at some point because maybe people have things to do against magic damage or whatever. Then it's probably best earlier when people have less ways to deal with it and their health pools are longer, so that support, like, if a Lions has 800 health or something, they can only hang out under Radiance Burn for
like 16 seconds.
Yeah,
seconds.
Something like that, like maybe 18 or something. And there's obviously some things besides Radiance Burn are going to exist at some point in this game. So if they take 3 auto attacks and then they're sitting next to Spectre the entire time, and you have Dispersion going too, like this Lion's just going to die from sheer fucking radiation.
For sure.
And the longer the game goes on, the less likely that is going to be. Okay,
so let's talk about the situation where my lane has gone perfectly, like literally perfectly. I decide I'm just going to go brown boot instead of phase and go like my brown boot, maybe PMS straight into Radiance.
Right.
And I get that Radiance at like 17 minutes. There is a very different window of getting it at 17 minutes opposed to getting it at 28 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like 28 minutes I'm using it to farm to get to another timing, right?
Yeah, I mean, you are probably going to have a spike, like, as soon as you get it and you have some other items, I'm assuming, and you can leverage it pretty well in a fight, and it's still doing a lot of damage at 28 minutes, but definitely not as much as at, 17 or some shit like that.
Yeah. So what would be the difference? How would I play Spectre differently? And I know that we're getting into, like, obvious, like, you would play her more aggressive, but, like, I get that at 17 minutes. I don't want to use my Radiance to farm robots. And what I mean by robots is like the neutral creeps or just the lane creeps. I want to use that to farm heroes. Whereas if I get it at 28 minutes or later, I want to use that to propel me to like a diffusal blade or to propel me to like an abyssal or
Manta
something like
or whatever.
that.
Yeah.
Manta.
So this is like another part of I mean, this kind of reminds me of the classic, like, oh, AM goes Brown Boots Battle Fury, tries to walk to the jungle, realizes that he just fucking dies and farms slow as shit. Similar to a Spectre that has, Brown Boots Radiance. Yeah, you have your certain kill threshold, but your own threshold on being killed is, like, fucking low. And your illusions have, I don't know, like, they take extra damage, right? And, like, a shit ton of extra damage, and you just have Brown Boots in your strength gain.
Well, let's say that it's a good... I was just using that as an example. What would you say would be the good Radiance timing with all the items before Radiance?
Yeah,
what would you have as a Spectre?
Not 19 or 20, I think is really good if you have like phase boots earned, maybe a wand or Aquila if you're really going for it, and then you go and then you get the Radiance. Yeah, if you get that at 18, 19, 20 minutes, that's super super early.
Okay, so I have phase earn.
Okay, so you're not going Radiance. A shitty build because I was going to say if you just rush whatever good item, then you just fucking die.
No, I was trying to make like a point of like a really good timing where my lane went perfect and I did everything right.
Yeah.
And then a bad timing where things didn't go as planned.
Sure. Okay, so just like if you're a good Spectre with a solid build at 20 minutes versus a solid build at 28 minutes, or rather the Radiance comes at 20 or 28. So I guess the main difference in that, as soon as you get that Radiance, since you got it so early, you don't need to be as Like, so we said the longer you wait, the smaller your window is going to be. And that means you need to look for a fight like fucking immediately. Like if you got the 28-minute radiance and you want that timing, like you need that timing to do something for you, you know you're not going to get another item in a while. And the Phantom Assassin I'm against is probably going to get her BKB within 2 minutes. And as soon as she does that, my radiance isn't giving her mischance. It's not doing damage to her. She's just in there and killing everyone. So if I get it kind of late and I notice PA still doesn't have BKB, I'm like, fuck it. We got to go now. I don't care what you're doing. Stop farming that ancient stack. We got to go before PA gets BKB, and we got to kill her before and like reduce her gold so we have another timing to do a little bit, and I can, make it so, okay, yeah, she gets her BKB, but 4 minutes later, I'm going to get my item instead of, she gets her BKB, I'm 10 minutes off a fucking Diffusal or a Mancer or something we just lose. So yeah, if your timing's later, you either got to do shit immediately with it, or I guess just use it to farm and look for your next timing. But the earlier you get it, the more judicious you can be. You can say, let's wait till like that earlier situation. Oh, Quap TP'd there. Now we're going to kill these 4 people and Quap can't help out. You don't have to totally rush and like, I got it. We need to immediately smoke and go. Instead, you can just kind of look around, wait for your opportunity. PA doesn't even have her Mythril Hammer for her BKB yet. We got all the time in the world. Just like look for the good fight and go for it, and don't rush yourself too much. But also the earlier you get it, the easier it is for a fight to go well. So you don't need to be like super, super judicious. You just don't need to take a bad fight for no reason.
Okay, so I get it early. I can basically line up for a really good shot. Like if I'm gonna like compare it to like I guess basketball or something, like I don't have to hurry and just hope that I get a half court shot because the buzzer's about to go off.
Yeah, exactly.
I can take my time and find the right fight.
Yeah, you
whereas
take your
if I get it
time,
late,
look for a good fight, and go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it late. The buzzer's about to go off. I'm chucking it from half court.
You just got to toss it, or accept that this game's going to be a loss and take it, to next time.
Okay, and I mean that's a very specific Spectre timing, but that makes a lot of sense. So instead of being like I just got Radiance and I got it super fast, let's force a fight. And if you force a fight and it's bad and you take it anyway because you got Radiance and you die, well, it doesn't matter that you had Radiance; you still died.
Sure.
So that's that's going to improve my play. I'll tell you that much.
And if obviously if you die as soon as you hit one timing, not only does that reveal that hitting that timing didn't put you above the opponent, you're still like at best even and probably a little bit worse off. If then you die after, if you're looking like if you just were to look at like 2 bars, like a fucking bar graph or something, and 2 of them are thresholds, and you're like, okay, we just lost, so we're definitely not bigger than them, and because we lost the fight, we know we now just shrunk. And they're just going to keep getting bigger. And like you took what was maybe even, and now you're just fucking behind. Like hell.
Which I don't want to go off on this tangent, but I'm going to mention it, which is the high ground thing, right? Wait for somebody to fuck up on taking high ground. And that's why we see these long games brewing where a team can be really behind but hold high ground. Yeah. And that's kind of going into what you just said.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like that makes a lot of sense with Spectre because when I have my really good games, and I get that really early Radiance, I'm thinking, okay, this is when, my Radiance is at its best the second I pick it up.
Yeah.
Regardless of what time I get it, it's at its best the second I pick it up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go find some shit. I'm just going to haunt, and I'm going to go, I don't care if they're all together, I'm just going to go in there and fight them. And what I did is I just took a good timing and made maybe me being ahead going to even or something like that.
Yeah, if it goes up in your face and you die, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's good because that's kind of the way I've always looked at these timings is I got the timing, I got the gold, I got the experience in the levels. It's time for me to do something.
Right.
When instead, it's time for you to look for. Go ahead.
There's like I guess so. If you want to keep thinking about the kind of like bar graph example, right? So like you just imagine 2 bars that are like up, kind of even with each other. And let's say, like you were talking about high ground advantage or something. So yeah, some other team may be like their bar is fucking 10% bigger than yours, but high ground adds like a 20% advantage on your ability to win a fight. So like, yeah, they're stronger than you, but you have this fucking like ghost power up that makes your potential way bigger than it ought to be. And it's similar, like if you take a bad fight, like, oh, we're fighting on top of Shrine. Yes, we're stronger than them, and yes, I have a shit ton of gold and stuff, but because we're on top of Shrine, their potential is actually like way fucking higher. The threshold to kill them is way bigger and way harder to actually pull off. So anytime that you do get a really good timing, unless it's something crazy like this is kind of why I liked getting Heart on Sven every so often, and that's because it makes it to the point where like I just can't fucking die. It's just fucking possible to kill my Heart Sven when I'm fast as shit. And yeah, you get me low, but I can always get away before you can chunk through like 4k health and then get all my health back and keep fighting. So like, yeah, no matter what, it's kind of harder for us to win, but any fight I know won't be a loss. I kind of lost myself a little bit there, but yeah,
if you contingency, it's not that's a kind of weird point to bring up. Stronger. It's interesting though. It's not as direct as like Lifesteal or Armlet or Sven after Blink or PA.
That kind of splits it into like, oh, my ability to kill people as its own bar, and then my ability to survive them trying to kill me as its own separate thing, and we don't need to go that complicated. But yeah, basically like if you have a really good advantage and you just get an advantage, but you use that to take a bad fight, then yes, you have an advantage, but by nature of it being a bad fight, something is gonna happen to kind of tip the scales away from like, some open fight where, like Super Smash Brothers, fucking only Fox, 2 stock, Final Destination, no items or whatever. As soon as you take a bad fight, you're not Final Destination where you're in Kirby's fucking Dreamland and there's goddamn hammers dropping from the sky. Like, that's not, like, yeah, you're better than them, but there's a shit ton of X factors you just added in that you cannot account for.
Okay, those X factors are the things that you were trying to work around the timing, because you have a big window, so that you can then say, there are no X factors, this is the time, seize the moment.
Yeah, like, yeah, you're stronger than them, but you just walked up on high ground, turns out Enigma was there, and he just BKB black holes, and you're like, oh, well, I was stronger than them, but you took a bad fight. You walked up onto high ground. Yes, you're stronger, but no, like, your Radiance is not going to be better than a black hole that Enigma had no reason to be able to get.
The hammer falling from the sky hit me on the head, even though I had a giant sword.
Well, in Super Smash Brothers, the hammer's an item that anyway.
They pick it up. It's been years.
It's like even N64. You got, they got the hammer, and then it would go do, and they would just like do infinite damage, and you would just beat the shit. Yeah, and they'd knock them hella far away.
Yeah. Okay.
I
like the analogy. It's just been so long, I can't.
Really I know it's okay. It's okay.
I don't have any Nintendo devices.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think another pretty good example would be, and I see this all the time. I don't know if you do up in your lofty 5K house, but Legion Blink. I can't tell you how many times. Is it Legion Blink or is it Legion Blink Blade Mail, or are they two separate timings?
Those are two separate timings.
Because God damn it, is it frustrating? And I know the whole entire Dota 2 scene hears this echoing through our caverns: Legion Jungle, Legion Jungle, Legion Jungle. Yeah. But you know what? It can work. Legion can get a fast blink timing.
It's fine. Like Legion.
There's a reason
Legion's
people
good.
do it. Like she can lifesteal, she can jungle, whatever.
Yeah.
But too often do I see a Legion getting phase boot, blink dagger, and staying in the jungle.
Right.
And this is something that like I just want to like tell you. I feel personally like that's wrong. I feel like the second that blink dagger happens is you're probably level 6 around that time. Your chance of killing somebody, your chance of 100 to 0 is getting weaker and weaker and weaker the longer you stay in the jungle.
Yeah.
Or harder and harder and harder to achieve.
Yeah.
And so I wrote that on the list because it's like, I don't understand why you're even building a blink dagger at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of comes down... There's a kind of difference in timings. There's the runs that are really easy to understand, like, oh, I get Spectre, or I'm Spectre, and I get Radiance, and my Radiance is going to, like, the damage that it does is going to be less impactful the longer it goes. Like, 5 seconds of Radiance burn isn't as big a deal once their Lion has, like an Ags or some shit like that, has a bunch of health. Similarly, my Queen of Pain's first level of ulti isn't going to be a big deal once they have a shit ton of health, or my Skywrath ulti isn't going to be a big deal once they have a BKB, all that shit. So there's that, and then there's also the, like, ability
utility.
Yeah, there's kind of like a sense, a utility or just like concept sort of to deal with, like Skyrath silence for instance, or just silence as a concept, global silence and shit like that. Global silence is better the longer that you go before they have an ability to deal with it, right? So similarly, against PA, she stops doing damage once the team gets an AC or something. As soon as Sven gets AC, PA stops being able to kill him, pretty much, period. And as soon as my life stealer maybe buys a manta for whatever reason, or as soon as Juggernaut gets a manta, global silence is not going to stop him from spinning to BKB himself or from ulting and shit like that. Or let's say Spectre haunts, and then Silencer global silences, and Spectre's like, oh shit, I can't reality in. I should have done it immediately instead of waited 3 seconds. And now I'm global silence and I can't do anything. As soon as Spectre gets Manta, Spectre just uses Manta, gets out of the global silence, and then can do shit. And that's kind of similar to like I was saying earlier. I wanted a support example. Yeah, like Blink on Lion.
Yeah, Blink on Lion. We can use that. That's fine. I got my Legion point across.
Yeah. So the longer the game goes on, the more people have abilities to like do wild shit, right? As soon as my OD gets a Blink Dagger, there's a pretty wide amount of space around a tower that Legion can like blink duel someone. If my OD immediately TPs and then fucking like blinks and astrals my teammate, now I have 4 seconds for my entire team to like come in and respond to it, and at least the duel won't finish. Or like Centaur's trying to get Ags, and as soon as a Centaur gets Ags, my a Legion's like blink duel, or a Lion's blink Hex out of nowhere. You may have enough damage to kill them, but as soon as Centaur gets Ags, you can just press R, and then all of a sudden the person that you just caught is almost taking 0 damage, and there's no way to kill them before we can react to it. So it's like a different kind of threshold, not so much, I want to deal this much damage before they're survivable. It's like, I want to leverage this capability we have before they have a counter capability or something like that. Does that make sense?
It does. But it's hard to like delineate between, like, you're right, between PA after Deso and Legion after Blink. They're two completely different things. PA after Deso means that the second I get Deso, maybe if I coup de grace somebody, it's 100 to 0.
Yeah, it's
Legion.
It's less easy to understand for sure, but if you kind of take a step back, the difference is pretty. It's pretty understandable, right? Like okay, Necrophos is a great example. As soon as they get Glimmer Cape, my ulti is a lot worse. As soon as Sven gets AC, my PA's damage is a lot worse. Those are actually pretty equivalent concepts. Them buying an item reduces my ability to kill someone drastically. It's just the way that they go about it is slightly less understandable, but it's the same. It's really the same concept.
Yeah, it's just it's more information. Like if I have a Desolator on PA, excuse me, I know that like, oh, there's a Crystal Maiden, shink, dead. Instead of like, I'm a Necrophos looking for a Reaper Scythe, and then I have to click on 3 people, and I see that one of the 3 people has a Glimmer Cape, and I'm like, oh, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, not this time. I'm going to save it for a better opportunity.
Yeah. And I mean, I still think they're pretty equivalent. Like, I'm Necro. I need to check if they have a Glimmer. I'm PA. I need to check if they have like a Ghost Scepter, or they have an armor item or something. Like maybe the CM has like a Solar Crest or something. Like shit, I'm just gonna
Radiance
miss.
Is kind of like the laziest approach, because you're like, well, it doesn't really matter what they have because my Radiance is just there. I don't really control it. It just does it. It just does its thing. It just burns people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing you have to really think is, they already have a pipe, so my Radiance timing isn't going to be a big deal. But outside of that, it's like, they're carry BKB'd, whatever. I'm not worried about Radiance burning down their fucking their OD or something. I'm worried about Radiance burning down their Witch Doctor or Disruptor or some shit like that.
So I want to go into another area that I don't perfectly understand.
Okay.
That I want to get your advice on. You're a carry player. You play.
I've done that, yes.
But I would say carry definitely is where
for the most part
lies. So AM, what the fuck am I looking for with this hero?
Okay.
Like, I don't really get it. I know that I'm good at farming with him. I know that I can blink around and stuff. I know that he can bust somebody if they have no mana. But what am I looking to do with Anti-Mage? He's a
All right.
polarizing hero.
I want you
feel
to.
like
This is when like visualization shit comes in. I think when you're trying to figure out how like what a timing of a hero is. All right. So let's say I have Battle Fury, Treads, and like a fucking. If you're me, I like going Bassi on this hero a shit ton. I'm a big fan of Bassi anti-mage. So if I let's say you have those items.
armor?
You have,
What's your reason for Bassi?
Anti-Mage needs a little bit of extra mana regen. That's one of the reasons why Vlad's was good on him. Because it gives him like mana regen, health regen to jungle, and also this crazy aura to push with. And Bassi gives a lot of what Vlad's did in terms of the aura. Yeah, the creeps don't heal a bit, but you're killing creeps so fast that it's not so much the lifesteal that they worry about. And the difference in armor is about 2, so that's like the main thing you're kind of worried about. But in response, like, yeah, they're missing 2 armor, but it's also like, I don't know, like almost 1,500 less gold. It's actually more than 1,500 less gold for the difference of roughly 2 armor, in my opinion. And yeah, the 17% damage aura, but that's like not too big a deal.
Really
15
cheap,
or whatever.
Really cheap Vlads. Basically,
it's a super cheap Vlads, and it lets you keep blinking around forever. You may need 1 clarity over the course of your entire life. But that's fine. And then also the 2 armor is nice, and 7 damage or whatever. It's decent. But yeah, big fan of Bassi on Anti-Mage. Also, if you're playing Anti-Mage, unless you have like a Shadow Fiend, your team probably just doesn't have a Bassi aura in general. But yeah, it helps you push a shit ton, and you do need a little bit of extra mana to do spamming Blink, especially if you have the -1 second Blink cooldown thing. Anyway, big fan of Bassi AM. A lot of people used to go that. They kind of stopped, but I'm still a fan. Anyway, so like let's say you just have Battle Fury and Treads, and I'm gonna try to kill a lion. Like, what happens? You blink on him or something?
I blink on him and I chase him.
All right, so you blink on him. What happens?
I hit him and he runs away, and I try and keep hitting him, and then eventually he gets some distance, and I blink again toward him, and I blink on him and he hexes me or something.
Yeah, that's right? What happens. You blink on him and he hexes you. And then you fuck around, and then you get stunned, and then...
Well, I wait for the hex, and then I try and blink and catch up to him, right?
Yeah, well, someone's already TP'd in by there, and then you die, because their Sven stunned you and used God Strength, and then the lion still had his Earthshike, and then you die.
And there's a million other heroes that you could use for that example, other than Sven, or... Fucking Tusk
comes in, pulls you into a snowball, you have even more time, then fucking...
But I have 6,000 net worth, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing bad. I have a Battle Fury and Treads.
Yeah, it's just you can't do anything.
Net worth.
You just right click people, and then they fucking hex you and walk away, and you're like,
which is why he's such a confusing hero, because what I have all this money tied up in items.
Yeah, so keep doing. Let's keep doing some visualization down the road. All right, so we identified the threshold on Anti-Mage before someone can just fucking get out of here. It's like you hit him twice, and then it depends on your MMR. Most people, after you hit him once or twice, enough things are going to load in their brain. They're going to remember that, I should probably hex this person who's hitting me, and then you're going to get maybe like 100 to 200 damage out, and that's about it. That's really it. And so, all right, so that's really all you can do with just like Treads Battle Fury. You really can't kill anyone. Best case scenario, a fight has already happened and Lion has already used his Hex and Earth Spike, or an Invoker already used 13 spells and now Invoker's out of mana. And then you can blink in and you can get some auto attacks off because no one has their spells up, and then maybe you can get a nice mana void out. But in order to do that, like, everyone had to already do all their shit. So because of that, you can say, all right, so I know on Anti-Mage, at least when all I have is Battle Fury and Treads or whatever, I really can't do anything unless no one can do anything back. So you should be armed with at least that knowledge. So let's add in like Manta style, and you try to go on fucking Lion again. Like, what happens? You go on him, and then you...
he hexes me on Manta style, and now I have 3
Well, you can't Manta style out of hex, but let's just say like you go in, you jump 2 auto attacks, and then you Manta, right? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool.
He probably is going to have 0 mana very quickly.
Well, he still doesn't. I mean, he's got like he's a hero with a lot of mana. And it's by the time you have Manta style, I'm sure he's got Tranquil Boots and a wand, and I mean he has more than 300 mana on him. So he like Earth Spikes or something, right? And then starts walking away. And by then, maybe you have another blink, but then he has his hex up by then, and they have time to react within the timing of an Earth Spike or something. You get hexed.
I'm kind of in a similar spot, I guess.
Yeah, you've got a little bit more potential.
I have to force it. I really have to force it if I want to even kill a lion.
That's pretty different. It's not too hard to kill a lion in most cases. Like maybe you can kill a witch doctor who has a really shitty like tiny stun. Or you can't even kill a shadow demon. Like you blink on him, he just disrupts you or disrupts himself, and someone comes.
I was
You
thinking
really-
of, like, I was trying to think of a hero that AM could blink on and kill, and was like, like, we're not
No.
leaps away, or arrows you, and
Yeah.
it walks away, or, like, you know, like, I was like, nah.
Yeah,
Shadow
you have a
Shaman.
little bit more potential. Like, oh, maybe I can kill Disruptor if I blink Manta, and then it's hard for Disruptor to figure out which one to glimpse of all the Mantas, and like that's about the end of it. It's like there's a very few. So even after you get your Battle Fury, which is like, oh man, I got my Battle Fury, so it's great. Even after you get your Manta, like sick, I got my Manta, that's great. Like, but it doesn't really do anything. So the main thing that the Manta does is like, I mean, that's a radical difference if you're dealing with a Storm Spirit, like with, you know, Bloodstone Orchid, and he zips in and Orchids you, and then, oh shit, I Manta, and then I get out. Or, oh, I'm going to split push with the Illusions. Like, that's really what Manta's doing for you. It doesn't change up the situation when you're just trying to kill someone.
It's like a defensive also. What would you classify it? Because Battle Fury is like farming, right? Like, I can farm fast. I can flash farm.
Manta is defensive and kind of like farm you splitty item until you can hold someone down, right? Like if someone, cause I mean, another thing with illusions is they like trip over each other and shit. But if someone's not moving, it's really easy for a PL to take all their mana away, right? Like if someone's just sitting still and you have a PL illusion surround, like someone's fucked. And then, so like when you think of Anti-Mage fucking beating the shit out of you, it's not really until he has Basher and Abyssal that he just like blinks on you, Abyssal, Manta, and then you're just like, blah, 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 you're fucked. So.
Which is crazy to think, because I always had it in my mind that it was like, okay, a good timing for Anti-Mage is 24 minutes to have Battle Fury, Treads, Manta.
Yep.
Like around 24 minutes.
Yeah, 24, 25, that's like way classic, like TI3 kind of timings.
Yeah, and then he can join us in a fight. Because, say, I have a Lion on my team, but it feels like, yeah, absolutely, you're absolutely right. Like, I feel like Anti-Mage is a drive-by fighter when, like, in the mid-game. Sure. Like what you said, when they can't do anything back, I jump in, I right-click and Invoker a couple times, I mana break him, I get a lucky double kill because there's a lion that happens to be standing by him that takes all the AoE damage. And then what do? I go back to killing computers.
Yeah.
Like as I've been calling them lately, or creeps and neutral creeps, lane creeps.
No, for sure. And you could look at Anti-Mage and say like, well, if someone else can, I mean, so all Abyssal does for you is it allows you to supply your own lockdown. So you could say, oh, well, what if my team, like I have a Lion on my team, or I have Centaur or something, someone who can supply a stun. Isn't that good enough? And also, I want you to kind of think about the way Anti-Mage works. One of the reasons that he's a good carry, and like, you know, one of the defenses against like, oh, Lifestealer kind of sucks, Ursa kind of sucks, Sven has some downfalls, and it's because they get kited. But no one ever says that shit about Anti-Mage. And why? Because he's a fucking like 4-second cooldown blink that he can do after he gets damaged. That's fucking wild.
He's kind of out of nowhere. And I would say, to your point on, well, Lion can supply the stun. Well, can Lion be there when I'm going to be there?
Right, exactly.
Like, can Lion meet up when can we meet up at the, like, when I say I'm going to be there in 4 seconds, can you be there in 4 seconds?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like,
and that's where I would say, no, Lion would have to, like, walk up, and Lion probably doesn't have a blink.
Yeah, like the horror story of being against Anti-Mage, like maybe you're Invoker and you're trying to do a bunch of shit, and then you don't have your Lincolns or whatever yet, and Anti-Mage blinks on top of your Invoker in the back line, and your axe is like, the axe is already taking damage from, like Queen of Pain put a Q on him, and now he has like this dot and axe can't blink or whatever, and your Invoker's caught, and yeah, it would be nice if your Lion could have supplied that stun, but your Lion got fucking zoned by the axe who put like a Battle Hunger on the line or some shit right now. But Anti-Mage, like, yeah, he took a spin and maybe he got blink called by the axe or some shit, but that wore off, and now Anti-Mage can just fucking blink. The rest of your team, though, they're stuck in the back lines, but Anti-Mage doesn't give a shit. And he just fucking went over, Abyssal the Invoker, popped the Manta, and he's just like, then fucking Mana Void, and blows up, everyone dies. So that's why Anti-Mage needs his own suite of everything. He doesn't, because he really cannot rely on his teammates to be where he is capable of being.
Yeah. He's kind of that, in which I feel like that's why I hate seeing him picked in my pubs.
Yep.
Because that understanding wasn't even my understanding until this recording, to be honest with you. I didn't really ever think of it that way. I would kind of just thought, well, you know, you get your Manta and then you fight.
Yeah, no.
To be honest with you.
You get your Manta and then you don't die.
Yeah, you get your Manta, and then that way when
you can farm aggressively. And
that way when the Storm Spirit zips on you, or when you find that situation, you can Manta and blink away. You know what I mean? Instead of being caught.
Yeah. That reminds me of the time I was playing Anti-Mage with you, and I was like hitting a Rax or whatever, and I hadn't used my Manta yet, and you're like, why didn't you use your Manta? I was like, in case someone silenced me. What the fuck's Manta do? It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It just makes me not die.
You're gonna do more damage to the tower.
Yeah, it's
Why
like
hit your
six.
Manta?
Like 6 more damage. It's not going to change any thresholds of whether or not I get this thing or not.
But the hero, I mean, I think it has to do, like, Pudge. Look at his model. It's polarizing, right? He's like this, like, big, like...
Hey, if we want to talk about anti-mage culture, that is one of my favorite topics.
No, I know. And anti-mage is like your Super Saiyan or whatever, like, whatever you want to call him. Like, anti-mage is like your... Like, you see these heroes...
Yeah.
Yeah, self-important. You see these heroes that are popular, I think, largely due to one ability and the way that they look. Literally the way that they look. Like, Pudge can throw a hook and looks cool. Yeah. Anti-mage can blink and looks cool. You know what I mean? And
I mean, Anti-Mage is also because it's the fucking 1v9 thing where you kind of play your own game and everyone else's shit, and they all need to rely on you to carry late game.
Exactly. Like, you're the alpha, right? And everybody is beta to you, and you'll hold the fort until I'm ready.
Yeah.
Type mentality, which
just don't lose until I win the game for you idiots. Like
exactly. It's like having a jungler. And
only it's your safe laner.
Yeah, but it's your safe laner. Like, oftentimes we have a jungler and anti-mage. Yeah. And it's like, oh god.
Yeah, and they have a lifestealer Jakiro safe lane, and they're knocking at your door.
And all of a sudden, you know, the anti-mage is like, this fucking CM sucks. This CM couldn't even do anything. But really, it's on him. It's on him for picking anti-mage. Because
anti-mage pub players are the worst.
I feel like AM is one of the more niche heroes out there.
Yep, you're not wrong.
Or should be one of the more
That's
niche
why
heroes.
he's really kind of unpicked unless someone picks Storm, I'm going to pick Anti-Mage. And that's not like if people only really pick Anti-Mage against certain things, that means the hero is not that great on its own. It's very situational or niche or whatever you want to say.
Exactly.
Are you like having a huge revelation about how bad Anti-Mage is in pubs right now?
Because
Anti-Mage is awful in pubs. 100%.
Yeah, I know.
And the people who play, like, similar to how, like, yeah, you're right. It is very similar to Legion Commander. Legion Commander is, fuck it, I hate everyone, I'm just going to jungle. Anti-Mage is, fuck it, I hate everyone, but I have safe lane, so I'm going to play Anti-Mage. It's very similar for sure.
And I'm not going to lie, like, I love playing Anti-Mage because his last hit animation is super easy. He has high damage. It feels like you just shink. Like it's easy to get, like, 65 by 10. Yeah. It's great. Picking,
or 80, depending how good you are.
Or 80, yeah. It's like I think Black got like 74.
Yeah. You can get a shit ton if you're using like the pole camp a lot. Like if you have decent farm and you start stack pulling the hard camp every minute at like starting at 6 minutes. Yeah, you can get like 90 to 100 pretty easily with a free lane if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, like an insane amount, and so. And, like, it feels great to be like, ding, Battle Fury, and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then you eat a punch, eat every fucking wave, and yeah.
And that camp that you kept stacking over and over, you can now take. You know what I mean? And then, Manta, sweet. You know, I can take a tier 1 because everybody's fighting bot.
Yeah. Or I can take a tier 1 because the Skywrath that they have knows for a fact that even if Skywrath TPs in to stop me, I can Manta off anything he does and leave. So, or blink on him and then he silences. Like he TPs in, silences me. I Manta it off. He has no spells left. I jump on him, hit him, and he dies or some shit like that.
He's super fun, and even using his ult is this like super visceral, like like you're just like,
and
it's like shooting a gun.
Fucking pop.
Yeah, and you're just like, that was great. Yeah. I'm going to do that 10 more times
and
today.
If you get the right target, it does like 1 trillion damage to literally everyone. Like, why does Anti-Mage get a fucking 2,000 damage AoE damage ability in addition to being like this insane right clicker? That's, man, Anti-Mage is fun. I'm not going to disagree with that.
He's fun as shit, but like, what would you say is, you have a perfect Anti-Mage game.
Right.
When can he fight?
As soon as he gets Basher, if you're
I know, but like
lucky.
what time? What time would you say would be like a really great time
if you're doing
for
great,
Anti-Mage to have everything he needs to fight?
28 maybe, if you have like... I don't know. Yeah. I don't play enough Anti-Mage to know like really hard timings for it.
I
And
would say that's
timings
roughly
are on a
right.
kind of weird shifting scale. But yeah, like 28 minutes to be fighting with anti-mage. That sounds good. As soon as you
And
get
that's
like as soon as you
really
get the
good, yeah.
the Battle Fury or Treads Battle Fury Manta Basher, I think that's a great time to start fighting on anti-mage. If you need to go other items like, oh, I need Lincolns for some fucking reason, or I need
Or
Ags or
Ags.
some shit like
You
that.
shouldn't have picked him in the first place, probably.
Yeah,
But yeah,
probably. But if you're in the situation, you're in the situation. Like until
yeah.
you can get your Basher, or like I don't know, fucking Scotty. If for some reason you need to go Scotty, or MKB is like a decent alternative because it does have some like capability of disable. Like as long as you're not against a lion that's just gonna like instant AoE stun you in Urshik or whatever, it's not too bad. But like until you can blink, like just picture when anti mage is fucking you up. Like all of your worst memories of anti mage are, oh shit, I got blinked on, he abyssal, and then the mantis came and I just got shit on and then he blew me up before I got out of the bash or abyssal combo. Like
I'm a backline lion,
and I
you
used
blunk on
all of my
me,
spells or
and
some shit
I've
like
already
that.
I've already used my first round, and I'm
Yeah.
waiting for Earth Spike to come off cooldown.
But
now
still,
I don't
even
have
then,
it.
you can run away for like 4 seconds before he actually kills you. Like as soon as he starts auto attack, like unless you're walking around his body, you can always walk for a few seconds away if you're at full health, right? Like
But
anti
there's
mage
that
is
shock
literally
factor, you know, 'cause
yeah.
he comes out of the fog. He doesn't. You don't see anti mage before he is attacking you.
Sure,
Usually,
yeah. I mean,
in my
if you're
opinion.
not going to do anything when he starts attacking you, then yeah, it's still good. But
Like you're taking this fight, and then all of a sudden, bam! I'm anti mage. I hit my manta. I'm lying. I'm dead.
I'm walking.
You know, at that
Well,
point.
it doesn't happen that fast unless he's like
It
wildly
feels
farmed.
that fast.
If
It feels
if he
that is
just
what I'm
has
getting
if he just has Manta and Battle Fury, like you're gonna have maybe 3 or 4 seconds to be walking away from him. Because like as soon as
Yeah.
you start walking away, he's tripping over his mantas and shit. He does an auto attack and he stops moving, and then his manta gets in front of him, and then his manta auto attacks you for like 60 damage, counting the mana burn, and then the other manta gets, and then that one happens, and then anti mage gets what, and like you have a lot of time, and then he
And
has to use like
you
another
probably
blink and
got
shit,
away.
and then your team can react to another blink for like 4 seconds or something.
But
Anyway,
I'm talking that
yeah.
like late game situation.
Well, so he has his basher by then. You're fucked.
Yeah, and you're just like,
And
oh,
that
God.
yeah, and that's the situation where you're like, oh shit, he blinked on me and I got stunned and he just tore me down in 3 seconds. Like anti mage shreds you, but he can only like you can only like try to shred something that's fucking moving away from you. It's hard. Like think
Yeah.
about like a bunch of like paper and bubble wrap and shit, but it's running away from you. Like it's fucking you can't do that. You have to hold it down and like fucking kick its legs out and get it on the ground and then like get your nails and fucking tear at it. That's how anti-mage works. Like it doesn't work if it's running. You just like, come back. And then you try to and then you try to like jump on it or whatever, but you slide off because that's not how Dota works. But as soon as you get the basher and you have a fucking hammer and you kick the wheels out from under it and it falls down, easy as shit to shred.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that we had the anti-mage talk.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
feel
and
like it's
Ursa is
apparent
similar,
to
right?
its
Like
kid.
as soon as Ursa gets basher, like the terror is Ursa gets basher and he jumps on you and fucking blows the shit out of you. If he has Earthshock, it's pretty good too, and he kills you in 3 shots. But like once I have Force Staff, Blink Earthshock doesn't matter, and that's another thing about timings, right? Like I need to get my basher after you get your Force Staff. I need to get my Force Staff before you get your basher. Like that's how Ursa kind of works.
Honestly, I thought today's show would go like, all right, talk to me about Sniper after Maelstrom. You'd be like, well, Sniper gets Maelstrom, and then it goes boop, boop, boop. and
It doesn't
goes
do any
magic,
fucking
and
damage until he gets Maelstrom. So yeah.
and I guess I didn't realize like all the it's just the tip of the iceberg, the item.
There's
It's
a lot of
everything
shit.
that's underneath. Yeah. I hope everybody out there that hears this that is in the 3K bracket takes into serious consideration anti-mage and why you shouldn't pick him unless there are specific situations like Storm Spirit, Skywrath, Invoker or something like that,
It's
where
not
you
bad
know,
against Invoker.
yeah, like where you know that like you can use his mana void, like you can drive by kill people,
Yeah,
right?
and
then
they
still
don't have
continue farming.
like a Ricky or something. Anti-Mage fucking
Yeah.
hates Ricky. What does Anti-Mage do to Cloud? He has to have a
Exactly.
fucking BKB.
You can't
like,
even manta it off.
You can't manta it off. You're not going to build a 4-staff probly.
No.
Probably not 4-staff
Well,
Anti-Mage.
If you're building a 4-staff on anti-mage, something
Something
went wrong.
Something
Yeah.
went wrong.
So, yeah, this is going to deter me because there's so many times where I'm like, I'm 5th pick. I know that I'm going safe lane. And it's like, well, anti-mage sounds fun. And it's like, well, do you want to win the game or do you want to have fun? You
Yeah.
need to choose right now. Because you might win the game, but you're in for a long fucking haul. Because we're talking a perfect a perfect anti-mage game means I can't even start fighting until, let's say, approximately 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
You
you
know
can
what I
seize
mean?
a good opportunity at any point in the game, but any hero can do that, right? Like
Exactly.
the unique part of anti-mage, like none of the cool shit about anti-mage really kicks in until 28 minutes if shit is going well. Unless you're against, a Storm Spirit, where at any point in the game your ulti is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, and the Storm Spirit is like, Lincoln Sphere, hate it. Hate the item. Think it's dumb.
Yeah, and then after that
Or
happens,
something
you need to like blink Abyssal him, and then after Mana Void. But how are you gonna but you don't have your
But you
Abyssal
didn't
left,
lock him down.
so
Yeah.
he just left, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I bashed.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, that sucks. I didn't bet. Anyway, we are Proudland. That is Proud. This is me. I'm Roland. That's
Hi.
why it's called Proudland, if you didn't put two and two together. This is Defense of the Patients. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us at defenseofthepatients.com. You
Yeah.
can find us at twitch.tv/.ptv. You can find us at YouTube/.ptv1.
Yeah.
Make sure you tune in tonight to Tuesday Q&A
Yeah.
at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you are in our Discord, which is discord.gg/DOTP, that's an abbreviation for Defense of the Patients,
Is
in
it
case
really?
you're wondering. It is, yeah.
Huh. I thought that was just like our second name.
Yeah, I know, me too, for a long time, until I was like, wait, it's wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I've seen period P before as well, which is like next level. It's like meta game, dude. On dot P, period P.
Dot P.
Yeah, well, it's just like a period P. Like
Oh,
dot P.
okay. So
You know
not
what I
like
mean?
DOTP period P, but just like
No, it's
period
just,
P.
It's just period P.
Okay.
So it's like dot P. Anyway.
Okay.
You can also, like we said at the start of this episode, patreon.com/defense.
Holy shit, we need like
Any-
a charity, and we call .p helps people, and it would be .php.
.php, dude.
That would be
.p
sick.
helps people. Oh man, that
Right?
is cool.
And that would be
That
like,
is
I
way
don't know,
cool.
like if we wanted to like keep sending Captain Silver Foxes to learn how to make websites, that would be .php. Oh my god.
Man.
This is
I've
like,
never met an individual like Captain Silverfox. That's the only reason that happened, because that dude is truly unique. I'll say that much.
.php.
.php helps people. Okay, and there are other plugs that I'm missing, but the big one is Tuesday Q&A is fun. Come tune in. It's fun to talk with Ursi. I promise I'm getting better. I've learned a few lessons from listening to Proud on Theorycraft Thursday on how not to just semi-truck run over Ursi when talking.
That's like the
Because-
opposite of what you would have learned from Theorycraft Thursday.
Well, yeah, no, you reverse engineer. You
Okay.
know what I mean? You
Yeah.
reverse engineer. You have to see the truck hitting somebody in order
yeah.
to know how not to.
And it's like,
You know what
oh, I
mean?
see the problem. He didn't turn the wheel. That's
Yeah,
what he went wrong.
He didn't.
I
crank
need
the
to.
wheel.
Okay, you should
Yeah,
turn the wheel.
so-
That makes sense.
Yes. Anyway, I kind of have this running thing where I don't really know how to close the show, but I'm
Right.
just going to close it with just a simple statement
Here
of
we go.
Anti-Mage may be fun. You
But-
may get a lot of farm by 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
You may get a Battle Fury by 13 minutes with treads. But at the end of the day, do know that picking Anti-Mage is a lot like picking, I don't know,
Yeah, I feel like you kind of
Earth
ran out.
Spirit,
No, it's really nothing like that.
like niche. I don't know, something
It's like,
something
I don't
niche,
know.
niche, whatever. Something like a Bloodseeker against an Anti-Mage. It's niche.
Nah,
Don't do it.
yeah.
Save me some MMR. Thank you for listening to Defense of
Yeah,
Patience.
just
More
really, if you're in a
specifically,
pub, don't play anti-mage, I think is like a really,
yeah,
yeah.
coordinate. Goodbye.
Yeah.